Click. All right. Hey, everybody. Good morning. So we're gonna watch a video today, and we're gonna talk back to it. Okay, that's what we're gonna do because oh good God, I watched the James Comey interview on from Fox News Sunday on YouTube. Fuck it, play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog Studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, P. Dog Night. And stop the music. Yeah, I see what you did there, Big Chief Fuzzy. Fuzzy beard. Yeah, you just sit there then. You don't have to stand by. You can sit there. That's fine with me. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. It is December 17th, 2019. This beautiful Tuesday morning. It's warming up here. We're at a balmy 9 degrees in the Twin Cities. And yeah, we're going to check out a little James Comey action here because he had an interview on Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace, and I know some of you probably have seen it and other people are talking about it, but I want to go through it bit by bit because it's, I suppose we've been kind of having this theme on the Inspector General's report the last few episodes, and so we're going to continue on that theme today by listening to James Comey reaction to the Inspector General's report on Fox News Sunday, and there's a couple little fascinating things that I just need to get off my chest. It's craziness. But anyway, good morning again. Let's say hello to who's here. Chi-Town Jay, good morning. You get the bell because you were first. Good morning. And good morning, Green Thunder, Demighty, Tyler F, Necrosol Collins, Maddie, House of Geek, also known as the News Chick, Rolling Bear, Jason Burns, and Big Chief Fuzzy Beard of Gulf City, who is sitting because he refused to stand by. And that's everyone in the chat, and there's a couple other people out here, but we're just going to go with it because I watched this interview, and I was just kind of, I was just watching it by myself, and I don't think anyone was in the house. I hope my wife wasn't here. I don't know if she was here or not. But I was just screaming at the screen at points where I'm going, holy shit, what are you doing? What are you talking about, James Comey? By the way, quick thank yous to G Prime and Rolling Bear for retweeting the stream. While you're there watching me right now, you can either retweet my tweet if you're following me on Twitter, which is at PDogKnight, which hand? This hand. Down here at PDogKnight. Or you can just hit the share arrow below the screen or wherever it shows up on your phone and share this out. Share it on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you do things like that. And then finally, well, not finally, also just a reminder that if you like what we do here, sometime during the stream, you're going to hit that like button. You're going to smash. I don't know why people say smash the like button, but you can smash the like button. You can click the like button. You can do whatever you want with the like button. Or dislike if you're a duck dog, and super chats, donations, that kind of stuff. You do that through the Streamlabs link in the description down below. It will show up in the chat every once in a while also. All right, let's get to what we're going to get to today, because I wanted to talk about James Comey and just the whole. We're back on the Inspector General report, right? I'm looking at my aggregator here to see if they have anything about the Inspector General report. Doesn't look like there is. Maybe not. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm not going to do any of that stuff. We're gonna strictly go to James Comey, and let me see, make sure this shows up right. Oh, it does. It shows up just perfect. I'm gonna resize this screen a little bit real quick. Just give me a second here, and we're gonna check out the former director of the FBI, James Comey, and his interview with Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday. It's quite an interesting thing. Okay, there, I fit that. Oh, I see what I did. I had it right the first time. Anyway, we'll just do this, and we'll move it over. There we go. All right. It's fitting there. There we go. Let's see. Your Twitter's having issues too. I think everyone's Twitter's having issues. I think what you need to do, I actually closed, if you're having trouble with Twitter, I closed it. I closed the window that it was in, and I just reopened the window, and it worked this next time. It did have some hiccups this morning, so if you're on Twitter, that's just something to know. So anyway, we'll watch this. We'll go through this interview. We might get to one or two articles, and we'll do our normal Twitter trends, and then we'll get out of here just like we do. Also, by the way, if you're new here or haven't subscribed, make sure you're subscribed, and make sure you hit that bell, the little bell that says for notifications. Or if you're worried about that and not getting notifications, like I said, follow me on this hand. Follow me on Twitter at PDogKnight. I'm also on Gavin Minds. I don't use those as much. If you ever want to send me stories, you can send me to DM at Twitter or Gmail, pdogknight@gmail.com. Oh, and you know what? I think I am going to start a hashtag. I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I was thinking nightly news spelled with a K, or T. So TMKL is already a hashtag. It's already a hashtag being used by somebody, so I don't want to use that one. But if you got another idea, I'm more than happy to hear it. Nightly news, someone suggested that a while back, and I kind of like that. The University of Central Florida used that for a while, but they stopped using it in like the beginning of 2018, so maybe that'll work. But if you can think of a great hashtag that we could use for news, I'm more than happy to take some suggestions. But let's get into this interview with James Comey, because just because, okay? So here we go. And I will be stopping this periodically. Well, actually, I'll probably I'll probably stop it often because there's so many things in this interview that just drive me batty. All right, here we go. Click over here. Let's make sure you can see what we're talking about. And let me get my desktop audio working. All right, here we go. So let's start, because I'm if I get 10 seconds into this without stopping it, I'll be shocked. Here we go.
Former FBI Director James Comey. Director, welcome to Fox News Sunday.
Thanks for having me.
You have been taking something of a victory lap since the IG report was released earlier this week. The question is whether or not it's justified. Here are you and the Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, answering the same question.
Do you think this is vindication?
It is. I mean, the FBI's had to wait 2 years while the president and his followers lied about the institution. Finally, the truth gets told.
Does your report vindicate Mr. Comey?
It doesn't vindicate anyone at the FBI who touched this, including the leadership.
The IG says you should feel no vindication.
Well, maybe it turns upon how we understand the word.
I told you. I told you. His first answer. Well, it kind of depends on how you interpret the word. Who does that sound like? Oh my God. Is that straight out of the Bill Clinton playbook? It depends what the meaning of is. If you've been watching the last few days, you know that the Inspector General has not vindicated the FBI. And we all know what the word vindicated is. That means you're in the clear. Everything you did was just fine. Bull shite.
I mean is that the FBI was accused of treason, of illegal spying, of tapping Mr. Trump's wires illegally, of opening an investigation without justification, of being a criminal conspiracy to defeat and then unseat a president.
Now, notice, he's not speaking about the Fisa application, which is what the question is about. Also, the things he mentions, let's go through these things he mentions again.
I was accused of treason.
Remains to be seen. The Inspector General's report doesn't vindicate you from anything.
Of illegal spying.
The Inspector General's report does not vindicate you of illegal spying. If you got a faulty warrant to spy on somebody, then it ends up being illegal spying.
Tapping Mr. Trump's wires.
They were accused. The tapping of Trump's wires was a euphemism for spying electronic surveillance on people in the Trump campaign, which, because of the people they were supposedly investigating, they were supposedly not investigating the Trump campaign or Trump himself, but because of the fact they got 4 people that they had warrants to do electronic surveillance on within the Trump campaign, that means they get to hear everyone those people talk to. Yes, maybe they didn't tap the wires. They didn't tap the wires like the old FBI used to do, because it's electronic surveillance now, rather than tapping into a phone line the way they used to by manual devices. But they did do electronic surveillance. Now, whether it was legal is going to depend on how this whole Fisa thing turns out.
Illegally, of opening an investigation without justification,
of opening an investigation without justification. Okay, so they said that the initial investigation, based on the conversations Papadopoulos had, the Inspector General said, yes, they could open an investigation based on that very, very thin evidence or information. But a lot of people that we're talking about this were saying that the Fisa warrants investigations on Carter Page was not justified. And basically, if you read the Inspector General report, they weren't.
A criminal conspiracy to defeat and then unseat a president.
That was not, what's the word? That either. That was not part of the Inspector General report. We don't know yet, because there haven't been any criminal trials filed. Criminal charges filed yet. We're not there yet, James Comey. The Inspector General did not exonerate you of any of these things. All they said was that, yes, an initial investigation into Papadopoulos was justified, but the Fisa process was very, very wrong. Okay, moving on.
All of that was nonsense. I think it's really important that the Inspector General looked at that, and that the American people, your viewers, and all
the Inspector General didn't make a determination on any of those things. So you're not in the clear, Mr. Comey.
Understand that's true. But he also found things that we were never accused of, which is real sloppiness. And that.
Oh, things you were never accused of? Now, some of you were with me the other day when we read the Nunes memo. Sounds like everything in that Nunes memo are the things that he's trying to weasel out of now.
That's concerning. As I've said all along, has to be
Concerning? That's an interesting way to phrase it. Concerning. Oh, this guy is amazing. This whole interview is amazing. And if I stop it too many times, you could just yell at me in the chat. That's fine. But man, this is so bad. All right. Oh, by the way, real quick. Good morning, Necro. How you doing? I just want to make sure that I've got everything's going smoothly here. Good, looking good. All right, we're gonna get back into this. All right, continuing.
Be focused on. If I were director, I'd be very concerned about it and diving into it.
Well,
maybe he should have been focused on it when he was the director. And maybe you wouldn't have the problems you're about to have, James. Because I got a feeling, ooh, that Mr. Comey's gonna be in the court. He'll be sweating like a... No, I don't know. I can't even think of anything that rhymes with court right now, but he'll be sweating balls.
sloppiness may be a euphemism for what it is he found. One of his big concerns is the way the FBI handled the Fisa applications and the warrants that allowed you to surveil Carter Page, who was a former foreign policy advisor to the Trump campaign. Again, here is what you said about the Fisa process and what the Inspector General Horowitz said this week. Take a look.
Now, real quick here, one thing that I do like Chris Wallace. Remember I said a while back that Chris Wallace is a good interviewer, and he certainly will give anyone who he talks to hard questions. Doesn't matter whether on the left or the right. The one thing I appreciate about Chris Wallace, I think he's fair. Now, I don't care that he's kind of in his own little anti-Trump mode. I don't care. He's a fair interviewer no matter who he's talking to. And what I like is that he compared Comey's words to the words of the Inspector General. Let's keep going.
I have total confidence that the FISA process was followed and that the entire case was handled in a thoughtful, responsible way by DOJ and the FBI.
We identified significant inaccuracies and omissions in each of the 4 applications, 7 in the first application and a total of 17 by the final renewal application.
Now, before he even asks a question here, what did Comey say in the beginning of this interview? That the Inspector General brought up things that no one was questioning before, or no one had any problems with before. Didn't he just say that not a few minutes ago? And yet this interview from February 2018, do you remember that? You saw that interview they showed there when he's asked a question about the FISA problems. Do you know why he was having that interview? Because that was when the Nunes memo came out, when they were asking questions about this very process that the Inspector General says doesn't look so good. Now let's hear Chris's question.
17 significant errors in the FISA process, and you say that it was handled in a thoughtful and appropriate way.
Yeah, he's right. I was wrong. I was overconfident in the procedures that the FBI and Justice have built over 20 years.
Oh, he was right. I was wrong. I was overconfident that the FBI does things the right way. You signed, 3 of the 4 FISA warrants? Your name is on them. And that's why I say, when you submit something to a FISA court and say that it's true, you might want to make sure that you're not overconfident in your trust in the process.
I thought they were robust enough. It's incredibly hard to get a FISA. I was overconfident in those because he's right. There was.
God, I'm going to have to keep stopping constantly. Wait a minute. It's incredibly hard to get a FISA warrant? Incredibly hard? 98% of FISA warrants are approved. Now, have they been lying bastards on all of them? Who knows? They get into that later in this interview.
Real sloppiness. 17 things that either should have been in the applications or at least discussed.
Real
and characterized
sloppiness.
differently. It was
yeah.
not acceptable. And so he's right, I was wrong.
But you make it sound like you're a bystander, an eyewitness. You were the director of the FBI while a lot of this was going on, sir.
Sure. I'm responsible for that. That's why I'm telling you, I was wrong. I was overconfident as director in our procedures.
You know what? The other thing, if you work for the FBI or the CIA or any of these agencies, you're trained in the art of deception. That's part of your job when you're trying to get information from people. And James Comey somehow made it all the way to the director of the FBI. Do you think he's using his art of deception right now? Anybody? In fact, if you think so far he's been working overtime on his art of deception, press 1 in the chat. And if you don't think he's using his training in the art of deception, you can press 2. I got a feeling I know how you're gonna vote on this one.
And it's important that a leader be accountable and transparent. If I were still director, I'd be saying exactly the same thing that Chris Wray is saying, which is we are going to get to the bottom of this, because the most important question is it systemic? Are there problems in other cases?
Now, the reason I think he asked that question, well, is it systemic? He's trying to lessen the impact of this Inspector General report. The report on this particular case by saying, oh, well, we may have problems all over in this FISA warrant process. It may not just be this one, but this is the most important one they've ever done. This is one that you absolutely have to get right because you're part of an administration who is, well, let's say, you might even call it interfering in an election. So you got to be very careful not to interfere in an election when the party in power has a candidate and you're investigating the other party's candidate or the other party's whatever. Fuck off, Comey. God.
One of the central issues is the role that the Steele dossier played, which was Oppo research paid for by the Democrats, what role it played in getting the FISA warrants to surveil Page. Again, here's your version, and again, here's the Inspector General.
My recollection was it was part of a broader mosaic of facts that were laid before the FISA judge to obtain a FISA warrant.
And we concluded that the Steele reporting played a central and essential role.
A central and essential role?
In the decision to seek a FISA order.
Horowitz says it wasn't part, as you told Bret Baier, it wasn't part of a broader mosaic. He said it played an essential role in establishing probable cause. In fact, he says, if it hadn't been for the Steele dossier, the FBI probably wouldn't have even submitted a FISA application that had been reviewed in April of 2016, or August rather of 2016. They decided not to do it. They get the Steele dossier, they do it. It wasn't part of a broader mosaic. That's what you said, sir.
I'm not sure he and I are saying different things.
Oh, the nerve of this guy. They're absolutely saying different things. Comey and the Democrats and Adam Schiff, in the Adam Schiff memo, using Comey's words, Adam Schiff said that the FBI wasn't using the memo as the main part of their FISA warrant. The Inspector General says it was the central piece to obtain a FISA warrant. And in fact, if they wouldn't have had that particular dossier, there wouldn't have been a request for a FISA warrant because they knew they wouldn't have enough to get one. This is him lying.
What his report says is that the FBI thought it was a close call.
No, his
Until they
report
got
doesn't. His report does not say that the FBI thought it was a close call. He said they didn't have evidence, enough evidence to get a FISA warrant. This was a central piece of the application for the FISA warrant.
The Steele report, put that additional information in, and that tipped it over to be probable cause.
No.
It's a long FISA application that includes Steele material and lots of other material. I don't think we're saying different things.
Well,
It depends on what the meaning of is.
I think you are, sir, because he's saying...
Good for Wallace.
You're saying it's part of a broader mosaic. It's just one element. He's saying it was the tipping point. It's what brought it over. That
It was the central element. Let's go back and let's go back and see exactly what he says. Where is it? Hang on. It's right. All right. Here, let's listen to Horowitz
And we
again.
concluded that the Steele reporting played a central and essential role in the decision to seek a FISA order.
A central. What do you say? Essential and what? Essential and
That the Steele reporting played a central and essential role in the decision to seek a FISA order.
a central and essential role.
mosaic, and it played an essential role in establishing probable cause?
It was one of a bunch of different facts that were assembled to apply to the court. It was the one that convinced the lawyers that they had enough now with that added to the pile to go forward.
No. He's trying to minimize this the best he can. By the way, good morning to Green Thunder, to Mighty, Straight Sith Mail, and Mr. Dax. I'm glad you're here. We're watching the Comey interview on Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace, and I'm running my mouth as much as I can over this so that it's a reaction video.
The question is, it seemed that you were minimizing the role of the
absolutely
Steele
is
dossier,
minimizing it.
and he's saying it's a lot more important than you let on.
Okay, if I was, then I'm sorry that I did that, but I meant it was one part of the presentation to the court. It was not a huge part of the presentation to the court, but it was the fact, according to his report, that convinced the lawyers to go forward.
All right.
Oh, that's not what Horowitz is saying. Central and essential role. Remember those words. Central and essential role.
Then there's the issue of how reliable the Steele dossier, in fact, was. On January 6, 2017, in the Trump Tower, you brief Donald Trump, president-elect, about the Steele dossier. That same month, the FBI talks to Steele's main Russian contact, the main person on whom he based the dossier, who says, according to the IG report, quote, Steele misstated or exaggerated the primary subsource's statements in multiple sections of the reporting. Director Comey, not only do you fail to go back to the president-elect or president after January 20th and tell him, oh, you know that report I briefed you on? Turns out it's bunk. But the FBI goes back and renews its FISA application 3 more times, and by this point, the FBI knows that the Steele reporting is not credible.
Yeah, I think
Here he goes.
you're mischaracterizing both what the FBI knew and what Mr. Horowitz says in his report.
How, Sway? How? How?
They didn't conclude the reporting from Steele was bunk. They concluded there were significant questions about the reliability of some of the subsource reporting.
No, they didn't. The subsource himself told the FBI that what Steele put in the report was exaggerated and some of it was untrue. And they did not let the FISA court know this in subsequent renewals of the FISA warrant.
That should have been included in the renewals. But when I briefed the president, I briefed him on a small part of it that I told him I didn't know whether it was true or not. I didn't care. I just needed him to know about it.
You know what's funny about that too? You know, he went and briefed the president on that portion of the Steele dossier about the PP tape, right? You know how they like to say that Trump acts like a mob boss and blah blah blah, and he's like an extortionist. What do you think James Comey was doing when he went and briefed the president or president-elect on this information. What do you think he was telling him? Remember how Trump was not real happy with the FBI and the investigations going on, and Comey decides to go, well, guess what we have? Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but we have this dossier that says you like getting peed on. Oh, wouldn't it be terrible if the public knew about this? Little mob boss action there, James. Just checking.
I think you're mischaracterizing. Steele isn't, or rather, Horowitz isn't saying that the subsource, the Russian contact, was unreliable or was inaccurate. The Russian contact said to the FBI, Steele is unreliable because he misrepresented. Steele misstated or exaggerated the source's statements in multiple sections of the report. He's saying, I told him one thing and he wrote something else. The FBI knew that.
The FBI also knew that they had fired Steele. They had fired Steele for leaking to the press. They cut him loose. They let him go. They said, get the hell out of here. You're done. And yet they used him as a source for this. And they continued to use that dossier as a source. And also, you know what? Regardless, even if that were not true, even if the subsource didn't say he exaggerated most of the stuff, there were errors in that report, in the Steele dossier, or whatever the hell you want to call that thing, that were irrefutably wrong. And I'm going to go back to the Russian consulate in Miami. That does not exist. They also knew by that time that Michael Cohen had never been to Prague. He had said he'd never been to Prague. They knew that. They interviewed him. They knew he'd never been to Prague. And yet they still used it and didn't notify the court that there were some of these errors. Good morning, Lisa. How you doing? Keeping going.
Yeah, but that doesn't drive a conclusion that Steele's reporting is bunk. There's a number of tricky things to that. First,
wait a minute, wait. What did Chris ask here?
Because he misrepresented. Steele, or rather, Horowitz isn't saying that the subsource, the Russian contact, was unreliable or was inaccurate. The Russian contact said to the FBI, Steele is unreliable because he misrepresented. Steele misstated or exaggerated the source's statements in multiple sections of the report. He's saying, I told him one thing and he wrote something else. The FBI knew that.
Yeah, the Russian contact that Steele supposedly got all this information said, Steele's full of shit.
Yeah, but that doesn't drive a conclusion that Steele's reporting is bunk.
But that drives a conclusion. You got to tell the Fisa court that this guy said this isn't true. But you kept representing it as true. And guess who signed the subsequent Fisa warrant renewals? James Comey. Your name is on the renewal applications. That everything in this package is true to the best of your knowledge, when the FBI knew that it wasn't true. This guy, oh my God.
A number of tricky things to that. First, you're interviewing the subsource after all the reporting has become public. And so as a counterintelligence investigator, you have to think, is he walking away from it because it's now public? Oh,
is he just trying to cover his ass because now it's public? That's a pretty, yeah, he was obviously prepared for this question. He's so slimy, it's amazing.
And that has to go into your assessment of Mr. Steele.
It hadn't, I mean, if it had become public, just barely, this is in January of 2017. This isn't 2 years later.
Right, this is when it blew up, when it was published by whatever the outfit is, BuzzFeed. It was all over the news.
Whatever the outfit is. He knows what the outfit is. Good God.
It become a big deal. And so
Did you know all of this?
All of what?
Did you? Wait a minute.
Right, this is when it blew up, when it was published by whatever the outfit is, BuzzFeed. It was all over the news and had become a big deal. And so
Did you know all of this?
All of what?
All of what? All of what the? Oh, I'm sorry. Is your name Robert Mueller? You don't know what the hell it is? You don't know what you're talking about? What do you mean, all of what? Are you kidding me? Oh, and his excuse here is lame as fuck. Listen to this.
Everything that we're talking about here. Did you know that, in fact, the Steele report was the key for probable cause? Did you know that the FBI had talked to the Russian contact and he said what Steele said he had told him was not true? Did you know this? You're the FBI director.
First, again, the report will speak for itself. I don't believe the FBI concluded that Steele's reporting was bunk after talking to a subsource. But no, I didn't.
Oh, my God. The subsource. But still, if they didn't know it was bunk, did they know that there were questions as to the veracity of the information in the dossier? They should have known that there was problems with it. There were lots of problems with it. They were just obvious. And the fact that the subsource told you, the Steele's contact told you that he exaggerated many of the things. In fact, it said in the IG report that they were just telling funny stories over cocktails. And Steele wrote them down as gospel. Some of them weren't even, they were just making up shit. And the source told the FBI this. The FBI knew this information. And rather than maybe going and did a little fact checking with Steele or asking Steele, they just kept trying to renew the FISA warrants. It's crazy.
As the director, you're not kept informed on the details of an investigation. So no, in general, I didn't know.
Oh, whoa. As the director, you're
informed on the details
hang
of an
on.
investigation.
Not true. Did you know this? You're the FBI director.
Listen to this answer again.
Again, the report will speak for itself. I don't believe the FBI concluded that Steele's reporting was bunk after talking to a subsource. But no, I didn't. As the director, you're not kept informed on the details of an investigation. So no, in general, I didn't know what they'd learned from the subsource. I didn't know the particulars of the investigation.
But this is
Hold on a second. I think Chris Wallace makes the point. Why? Now, this is an investigation. Look, this isn't just any investigation, okay? Somehow Comey was all on top of everything in the investigation they had just finished. Remember what that was? That was the investigation into Hillary Clinton's handling of classified information, improper handling of classified information. And in fact, Comey took a hands-on approach to that one, right? Because it was involving a presidential candidate for the current election and the current election year. And he is the one who was the head voice for everything that happened in that particular investigation. He was the lead. He was taking all the information. So why wouldn't he, in a new investigation into the other candidate, the most sensitive type of investigation they could have had at the time because of the political aspects of it, wouldn't he want to be completely informed on what was happening with it? I remember somebody saying that President Obama wanted to be informed about it. Why wouldn't James Comey also want to be informed about it? Are you kidding me?
some investigation, sir. This is an investigation of the campaign of the man who is the president of the United States. You've just been through a firestorm investigating Hillary Clinton. I would think if I were in your position, I would have been on that, like a junkyard dog. I would have wanted to know everything they were doing in investigating the Trump campaign.
And you know damn well he did. Again, remember, FBI are trained in the art of deception. And he's trying to use all of his training right now. He came in here prepared with stupid answers to very good questions. Good morning, George the Sour, Zombie Teddy. How you doing, guys? I don't know. I'm not so ready for the death penalty on this one, Joy the Sorrow, but I think that there's got to be some law broken somewhere here, especially lying to a FISA court, putting your name on something that is a lie to a FISA court. That's at least a perjury charge. I hate to break it to you, James Comey, but your name's on 3 of the 4 renewals.
Yeah, that's not the way it works, though. As a director sitting at the top of an organization of 38,000 people, you can't run an investigation that's 7 layers below you. You have
Hold up.
to leave
Wait,
it
what?
to the
What did he say?
to do. 1,000 people. You can't run an investigation that's 7 layers below you.
You can't run an investigation that's 7 layers below you? Yeah, you're probably right. If it's some, bank fraud case in Tupelo, Mississippi, you can't run an investigation into that. But this isn't a bank fraud case in Tupelo, Mississippi. This is a case investigating the President of the United States. And it is 7 levels below you. I'm sorry, wasn't it number 2 and number 3 in the FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, and I can't remember the other guy's name, and then also even Peter Strzok was only a couple levels down below you. This isn't 7 layers below you. That's a crock of shit. Your number 2 guy at the FBI was part of this investigation. In fact, your number 2 guy at the FBI had some questionable dealings with that. What's his name? Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. Remember they were talking about the plan that they were talking about in Andy's office. That's the guy who reports directly to you, Mr. Comey. So it's the idea that this is 7 layers below you. You're full of shit. Sorry, I hate to break it to you. Hate to break that to you. Good God.
Have to leave it to the career professionals to do, to the special agency.
And again, this is an investigation into the presidential candidate, president-elect, and president of the United States. You don't think the director of the FBI is probably going to make sure that everything about this case comes across his desk? You think that maybe why the director of the FBI, James Comey, was signing FISA warrant requests and not his 7 layers below him people? What a lie. What a complete and utter lie.
Do this for their lives, and if a director tries to run an investigation, it'll get mucked up in all different kinds of ways.
Wait a minute, if the investigation is going to get mucked, do you mean if you're involved in an investigation is going to get mucked up, you're that incompetent? Oh, wait. Sorry. That's kind of what you're saying here, that you are that incompetent.
And his or her responsibilities and the impossibility of reaching the work that's being done at the lower level.
All right. And then there is, I've left for last, the worst misconduct. In August of 2016, just 2 weeks into the investigation, the CIA tells the FBI that it actually has a relationship with Carter Page, that when he has these meetings with the Russians, he actually goes back and he tells the CIA.
He's a CIA asset.
But you never tell the FISA court that. And in fact, in 2017, an FBI lawyer doctors a document. The CIA said, oh, Carter Page, he's a source. And he puts in the application, he's not a source.
Yeah, I got to take issue with I'll answer the question, but one of the predications of your question. The Inspector General did not find misconduct by any FBI people. He found...
He did not find misconduct. Yes, he did. Now, the question is the misconduct intentional or is it gross negligent? They'll get in gross negligence. It's absolutely misconduct. Quit lying. I'm going to go back just enough. There we go.
Not find misconduct by any FBI people. He found mistakes and negligent and oversight.
No, that's not true. In the case of Kevin Kleinsmith, he has referred it for a criminal investigation.
And in fact, what's also lost in here, he's also, in the former case, referred James Comey for a criminal investigation. Now, the Justice Department had chosen at the time not to start a criminal investigation into James Comey for his lying under oath. But of course there's misconduct. Now listen to this answer.
Right, but that's not been resolved. This is with the lawyer changing some email to a partner on the team.
Wait a minute. So it hasn't been resolved? Wait, so what did he say before that though?
People, he found mistakes and
like a
Hang on.
agents who do this for their lives, and if a director tries to run an investigation, it'll
I
get
went too
mucked up
far.
in all different kinds of ways, given his or her responsibilities and the impossibility of
conduct. In August of 20 tells the meetings with the Russians.
Here we
He
go.
actually goes back and he attacked in 2017. Oh, Carter Page, he's a source.
Sorry.
And he puts in the application, he's not a source.
Yeah, I got to take issue with one of the. I'll answer the
Listen
question.
to what he
One of the
says.
dedications to your question. The Inspector General did not find misconduct by any FBI people. He found.
He did not find misconduct by any FBI people. It's right in the report that this agent changed a document. He basically forged a document to make it seem that Carter Page was not a asset of the CIA. He changed a document. He did accuse someone of misconduct, and he says, "Well, that hasn't been adjudicated yet." You said.
Yeah, I got to take issue with one of the. I'll answer the question, but one of the predications of your question. The Inspector General did not find misconduct by any FBI people. He found mistakes and.
Did not find misconduct. Now he's mincing words here. Yes, the Inspector General accused people of misconduct. That's a complete and utter BS.
It's honest. It is not political. It is flawed.
Would you agree that the FISA court was...
Inspector General found significant mistakes, and that is not something to sneeze at. That's really important.
It's not something to sneeze at. Oh, he's so folksy. He's so folksy.
But the American people, especially your viewers, need to realize they were given false information about the FBI.
By what? What false information, Comey? What false information? We know that everything in the Devin Nunes memo was correct. Now that the Inspector General's jumped into it, we know that for a fact.
It's honest. It is not political. It is flawed.
Would you agree that the FISA court was also given false information by the FBI?
I think that's fair. The FBI should have included, or at least pushed to the lawyers so they could make a decision, information that you just said, things like that, another agency had not a source relationship, but some kind of contact relationship.
I want to get to three last questions. Okay. And one of them has to do with how serious what this is. You've talked a lot about mistakes or sloppiness. Horowitz
It's just mistakes. Ugh.
concludes 3 separate teams made significant errors in 4 separate FISA applications on one of the FBI's most significant cases. I mean, the investigation of President Trump and his campaign.
He was Trump. I have to keep correcting you. President Trump was not being investigated. His campaign was not being investigated.
But all the phone conversations, they used their electronic fridge every time. Wait a minute. Didn't they send people in with guys wired when they went to go interview people? So who were they investigating when they had those guys wired? And when they on electronic surveillance, man, if someone, the people they were surveilling, whoever they talked to, was also under surveillance, and they got 4 different people on this. They had 4 people they were doing this with. It's amazing.
4 Americans, 2 of whom were no longer associated with the campaign, were being investigated.
Okay. He was asked how he explains it. Horowitz, here he is.
It's unclear what the motivations were. On the one hand, gross incompetence, negligence. On the other hand, intentionality.
Gross negligence, or
Listen to
they
this
intended
answer.
to do it. They intended to lie to the FISA court. you were in charge during a lot of this, sir. And in fact, you signed the Fisa applications.
Sure, I think I signed at least 2 or 3 of them. He doesn't conclude that there was intentional misconduct by these career special agents.
So he said it's either gross negligence or it's intentional. So, James Comey, are you saying that your people were incompetent and under your leadership?
It's one of 2 things, and he can't decide: gross negligence or it was intentional misconduct.
Well,
that's what he said.
I've read his report. He says, we are not concluding that there was intentional misconduct by FBI.
Right. The Inspector General doesn't make conclusions. That's not what their job. They're not there to make conclusions. They're not the one who's going to exonerate you or prosecute you. They just come in and say, here's what happened. We might have some criminal referrals out of this. But it's certainly... yeah, you're right. He did make a determination that... What did he say? What is this bullshit he said?
Gross negligence or it was intentional misconduct.
Well,
that's what he said.
I've read his report. He says, we are not concluding that there was intentional misconduct by FBI.
Did you hear what he just said here?
Right. He's not concluding anything. He's just saying there's a couple options. 1, gross negligence, or 2, intentional. Which is it? Now, this is the problem with this interview that I wish Chris would have asked this question. Okay. You don't think that he didn't make a determination that this was intentional. So are you saying you were grossly incompetent? Is that what you were saying? Fisa direct violation of the 4th Amendment, intentional use of it is already broken the oath they swore to uphold. Yeah, no, I know that. Yeah, we did see it once. Sometimes there's some people who get his things hit twice. Anyway, hi Seamus Derby, good morning, by the way. And also good morning, Renovaccio, who is a lawyer. Deliberate alteration of a document in order to alter the reader's pursuant actions in relation to that document is not a mistake. It is a deliberate act of fraud. Yeah, it's fraud. It's fraud, all right. And the FBI knew it. They knew it was fraud. That's why there's going to be... someone's going to jail. Somebody will. Now, it may be some low-level sacrificial lamb. The guy that altered that document certainly is in trouble. There's no way that guy's not in trouble. Okay? You cut and paste an email. You don't cut and paste parts of it. And then, I forgot to cut and paste this little section here that had a couple words that were inconvenient. No, you altered the document. Clearly altered a document. All right, moving on.
I did. I don't know the context of that. I've read.
He was asked specifically, how do you explain it? And he said gross negligence or intentionality.
Yeah.
And Chris Wallace needed to make him choose one or the other. If it's gross negligence, that's on Comey. If it's intentionality, that's on Comey. Comey signed the warrants, and it doesn't matter. Comey, by signing those documents, is basically saying under oath that everything we're given this court is true in order to get these very, very, very sensitive FISA warrants. Not me, just did it. I don't spam. I think you're getting double taps or something there, Seamus. We're getting you twice. Oh, but I'm not worried about it right now. All right, moving on.
Well, I'm sorry. He doesn't find intentionality, but that...
He doesn't find intentionality. No! He said it's one or the other. He's just not choosing one. That's all he said. Yeah.
And he said gross
God.
negligence or intentionality.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. He doesn't find intentionality, but that doesn't make it any less important as...
he doesn't conclude intentionality. He doesn't conclude it's not intentionality because the Inspector General's job is not to make the conclusions. That is the purview of the Attorney General and the John Durham. Okay. That's Comey weaseling out of it by saying, well, he didn't say it was intentionality. Well, yeah, that's not his job to say it's intentionality. It's not his job to determine. That's for a different inspector or, attorney to figure out. And that's who's going to determine whether or not people are going to go to jail, or at least who are going to end up in court. That's for the grand jury to determine. Remember the grand juries that are being that have been convened on this? Of course, they're not. You're not supposed to know that anyway.
Director, you are responsible for this. I was responsible for this, and if I were still there, I'd be doing what Chris Wray is doing.
If you were still there, you would be getting fired again.
Figuring out, so how did this happen, and is it systemic? Because that's the scariest thing.
Yeah, he wants it to be systemic. He wants to say, oh no, this happens in every case. Well, if he truly believes that, then they need to shut down the whole FISA court system. Okay? Because that's a effed up system. But you know what? He's trying to spread it out. So, it's not so bad. This happens all the time. Really? Is that what you're saying, James Comey? Oh, this just happens all the time? You got a problem. Your name's on a lot of these FISA warrants, I bet. Or the FISA warrant applications. You might have a bigger if it is systemic, you might have a bigger problem here.
If you were still there and all of this came out and it turned out it happened on your watch, would you resign?
No, I don't think so. There were mistakes I consider more consequential than this during my tenure, and the important thing is to be transparent.
What? There were more mistakes, more consequential than this during your tenure? Really? Why don't we know about those? We should probably know about those, shouldn't we? Director Comey, former Director Comey. Why? What? There were what?
No, I don't think so. There were mistakes I consider more consequential than this during my tenure, and the important thing is to be transparent about it and then look to fix it and explain to the American people how you fix it.
Couple of final questions.
What? Are you kidding? Oh, there were worse mistakes than this. More consequential. Well, I think we need to hear about those, don't you think? Holy shit. That's... Man, this CYA interview doesn't make him look any better, does it?
As you know, Attorney General Barr has been harshly critical of how the FBI conducted this entire operation. Here's how he reacted to the IG's findings of whatever you want to call it in the handling of the FISA applications.
What do you mean whatever you want to call it? This is the IG Inspector General report. Whatever.
These irregularities, these misstatements, these omissions were not satisfactorily explained. And I think that leaves open the possibility to infer bad faith.
Now, before Chris goes on, how you could think, look, all the mistakes go in one direction, towards Trump, okay? As in continuing to investigate around him or around him, whatever they want to call it. It's weird how none of the mistakes are something that would cause them to move away from Trump. They have them all going forward to Trump. Okay, so that's and so when the question of bias comes up, well, if all the mistakes go in one direction, that would at least be some sign of bias, wouldn't it? Holy shit.
Given the repeated errors, some would say abuses of the Fisa process, does Attorney General Barr have a point?
No. He does.
How does he not have a point? All right, let's pull up Barr again. Exactly what Barr said, and see let's see if he has a point.
These misstatements, these omissions were not satisfactorily explained. And
so now we need to look for a satisfactory explanation of these mistakes, omissions, errors, and fraud. Let's just call it fraud. It's fraud to change the document. Let's get a satisfactory explanation for them. And that's what that's the reason. That's one of the reasons the Inspector General didn't make conclusions. There were errors. It could be intentional. It could be gross incompetence. But the only people they could ask were people who were still employed by the FBI. They couldn't ask Comey. They couldn't ask Strzok. They couldn't ask McKay because they were no longer employed by the FBI. But I bet you'll see some subpoenas soon. Subpoenas, not subpoenas. Yeah, they got a lot of people they can still interview that no longer work for the FBI or the Justice Department or some of those other agencies that were involved in this. And maybe we'll get some satisfactory answers now. Okay? That's all the Inspector General can do. He can only talk to people who are still there, who still are employed. Couldn't force anyone else to talk to him.
I think that leaves open the possibility to infer bad faith.
And he's saying it leaves open the possibility of bad faith. He's not saying there is bad faith. It just leaves that possibility open. Now listen to what Comey says about that.
Given the repeated errors, some would say abuses of the Fisa process, does Attorney General Barr have a point?
No.
Of
He
course
does
he
not have
does.
a factual basis as the Attorney General of the United States to be speculating that agents acted in bad faith.
Notice, he didn't. That's not what Attorney General Barr said. He was very careful with his words. He didn't say that people acted in bad faith. He said it leaves open the possibility that people could have acted in bad faith. He's not even accusing, but that's what they're investigating. Funny how Comey is really defensive about that part, isn't he? And look at his...
Says the Attorney General of the United States to be speculating that agents acted in bad faith. The facts just aren't there. Full stop. That doesn't make it any less consequential, any less important, but that's an irresponsible statement.
Well, no, it's not. If it leaves an open possibility, that's all he said.
Here's President Trump, and there's how he reacted to the IG.
Now this part pisses me off too, because of now Chris Wallace has a choice of what he's going to put on about what Trump says, and I don't really. Well, you'll see what I'm talking. You'll know what I'm talking about as soon as you see what they chose as a soundbite from Trump for this particular interview.
On the FBI investigation.
They've destroyed the lives of people that were great people, that are still great people. Their lives have been destroyed by scum, okay, by scum.
No. Whether, now, no matter how true that statement might be, they did this when they had an interview with, who's the bug-eyed guy? Adam Schiff. They did interviews with him, and the soundbite that Chris Wallace chose from Trump was awful. This one was not as bad, but by scum. Whatever.
I'd like your response to that, and I'd like you specifically, because you said the other day, where does former FBI lawyer Lisa Page go to get her reputation back?
Where does she go to get her reputation back? Well, maybe you shouldn't have been using company phones to text your married lover, you know? And then the conversations were pretty much they were pretty relational to what we're talking about here. So where do you get your reputation back? I don't know. Good luck with that. I wish you the best. Enjoy your retirement from the FBI. Good morning, Functional. How you doing? Hey, Geograph.
Back. Where does Carter Page go, the target of these FISA warrants and surveillance? Where does he go to get his reputation back?
It's a great question. Carter Page was treated unfairly, most significantly by his name being made public. He's a United States citizen.
Wow. Hey, Six. How you doing? Wow. Carter Page was treated unfairly. Well, at least you're admitting that. At least you're admitting that. That's good, James. Good. You told you told the truth at least once in this interview.
And it never should have been made public, and that's an outrage. But that statement is just a continuation of the lies about the FBI. The FBI is an honest, apolitical organization. Remember the treason. Remember the spying.
Really? Oh, you want to go back to all that? Guess what? Guess what, James? We're not talking about that. We're talking about this very specific case. And nobody's in the clear. Nobody's been exonerated. The Inspector General made it very clear during the Senate testimony that nobody's been exonerated. And you still haven't yet, James. Sorry, you haven't been exonerated yet.
Going to jail, that was false information that you...
Oh, we don't know yet, James. We don't know if anyone's going to jail yet. And what'd you say here? That we're an honest organization?
Political organization. Remember the treason made public, and that's an outrage. But that statement is just a continuation of the lies about the FBI. The FBI is an honest, apolitical organization.
Okay, he used honest and apolitical. Honest. Let's see. Apparently, the FBI agent who the Inspector General figured out altered a document to change the meaning of it in the order to help get a FISA warrant. Is that honest? You used a Steele dossier and didn't say who bought it, who paid for it, where the information came from, just that it might be someone who may have an interest in the election, but didn't say it was bought and paid for by the candidate's opponent in a presidential election. You didn't mention that to the FISA court. Is that honest? Is it honest that you that the information in the main central piece of evidence to ask for a FISA warrant had glaring falsehoods in it? Is that honest? Yeah, you're not doing so good here, James. Sorry.
Remember the treason. Remember the spying. Remember all of us going to jail.
The spying. You know what? Here's the thing. The spying word that you are so sensitive about. What is it? What do you call it? Whether there's a warrant or not. What do you call it when you enter a room to speak with somebody wearing a wire in order to get that information? Okay? Even whether you have a warrant or not, that word spying that you're so sensitive about, that's exactly what it is. That's what that's called. It's okay. Spying's not a bad word. In fact, there was a lot of spying going on in World War II. And it's not a negative thing. Spying is not a negative thing. Now, in this case, unwarranted spying, that might be why you're so sensitive about it. But spying's not a dirty word. It's a name for a technique of getting information. Okay, that happened. If you the idea that you think it didn't happen, I don't know why you would think that. Just is.
That was false information.
So okay, so it wasn't false information.
Your viewers and millions of others were given. My own mother-in-law was worried I was going to jail.
You're not out of the clear yet, James. That criminal referral from the last case, it's still there. They just haven't acted on it yet. But you got some other problems here now. You signed some Fisa warrant applications that you, under the threat of perjury, warranted to be true. That didn't turn out to be true. Your name's on them. So's Rod Rosenstein. So's Andy McCabe. So's a bunch of people. A bunch of the top people of the FBI. Oh, you remember that 7 layers down comment you made? Oh, wasn't Andrew McCabe number 2 in the FBI at the time? That doesn't sound like 7 layers down. And I'm pretty sure he was reporting to you because this was a very, very, very sensitive investigation. So, there you go.
I kept telling her, look, it's all made up. It's all made up. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but there was a criminal referral against you, so that wasn't made up, was it? Now, that's in the last Inspector General report, but it's a criminal referral. I don't think that was made up.
Publicly for 2 years. Well, now I'm saying it on behalf of the FBI. It was all made up. And I hope people will stare at that and learn about what the FBI is like. Human and flawed, but deeply committed to trying to do the right thing.
Oh, I wish I had some inspirational music because that was such a nice little speech. But some agents broke the law. Some agents faked some information. You didn't give all the information that you were supposed to give to the FISA court. Yeah, it's a little more than you're making it out to be.
Director Comey, people are going to have their reaction to what you said, but thank you for coming in. Thank you for taking the question, sir.
Thanks for having me.
You shouldn't let him have the last word there. So anyway, that's the frickin' interview of James Comey. And that's all really we're going to get to today. We'll do little Twitter trends real quick here, but I want to I don't know if he thinks, how he thinks his, okay, let's put it this way. He came in there prepared for some of these questions. I thought maybe because he thought maybe he was going to Chris Wallace, who is critical of Trump, and thought maybe he was going to get a little easier than he the best part is the side-by-side comparisons of what he said versus what the Inspector General said, which he tried to explain away, but he did a poor job of it. But the thing is, the people who are the impeach the motherfucker people, those people, it's funny how they're the ones who are so high on the FBI right now. Oh, the FBI is the greatest organization in the world. Are these? It's kind of upside down world because the Republicans are now very skeptical of law enforcement, which is fine. Yeah, in this case, they need to be, and you need to be in general just to be at least just not always defer to law enforcement, especially in this case. And it's the Democrats who are usually, who are I don't know, the Democratic constituency, the ones who are normally never trust the cops, never trust them, and now they're just putting their entire faith in James Comey. Again, trained in the art of deception. All right, let's move on. We're gonna do our Twitter trends and get out of here. I'm running quite a bit behind. Just one more thank you to RVA, and I'll mention G Prime and Rolling Bear again for tweeting out the show. If you come in here, it helps so much to have you all hit that share button or retweet the tweets. Retweet not like, but retweet, and that helps get the word out. My goal right now is I have, let's see, I can't remember how many subscribers I have right now. I'm trying to get to 500 by the end of January. Let's see here. Where am I at right now? So that would be, I'm at 462 right now. So I'm trying to get to 500 by the end of January. I probably could do that by the end of the month if I really worked at it. I don't pimp out the station. The stations. I don't pimp out the channel that much. I'm gonna have some guests coming up too that much larger channels than mine that'll probably have some people coming in. But the bigger goal is I want to get to 1,000 by July, because I'm gonna be on another one of those 2-week road trips. We decided that we're gonna go, like, this past summer, we took the boy down the California coast from Portland to San Diego, and then out to Vegas. Well, next summer we're going east, just me and Lady Boomer, and I want to be able to live stream on the road like we did when we were driving to some basketball games last year. So, and also to a trip to Omaha. A lot of you were around when we did the 6-hour live stream between Minneapolis and Omaha, and that was a lot of fun. So I'm trying to get up to 1,000 by next July so that we can live stream while we're traveling around the East Coast. We're going to fly into Boston, drive up into Maine, go visit a friend there, drive through the Vermont and New Hampshire, and then we're having a family reunion in upstate New York. So that's going to be it. So hopefully we'll figure that out by then and be able to do some live streaming on the road again, because you need 1,000 subscribers to be able to do mobile live streaming. And what we do is we drive and we talk. We just talk and laugh, and Laura Lady Boomer Laura reads the chats, and we just talk to everybody. So it's a lot of fun. All right, let's get into Twitter trends for today and then get out of here. Let's see. Now it's good. This is going to be interesting. So today, what's the top thing? Researchers discover possible mass grave from the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. If you're familiar with this is I can't remember the name of the movie. There's a movie about this, but there's in Tulsa, near Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma. There's this Greenwich district was a very successful, thriving. Nope, Pincalo, I just looked it up. You said that the other day. I hate to be the one to burst your bubble. I'm pretty sure it's 10,000 subs for mobile streaming. Nope, it's 1,000. I just looked it up 2 days ago. So that, you only need 2,000 or 1,000. But thank you. I can't remember there's a threshold. The 10,000 threshold, I think, might be for being able to do, like, when people put messages, rather than videos in your feed, I think that's 10,000 you need for that. But for mobile streaming, you only need 1,000. Anyway, back to this thing. The Greenwich community, it was a wealthy black community near Tulsa, Oklahoma, and basically the white people around there were very jealous, and they ended up burning down the entire community and murdered just tons of people there. On May 31st, 1921, a white mob marched on the Greenwich district of Tulsa, Oklahoma, one of the richest black communities in the country at the time, burning much of the community to the ground. Experts at the University of Oklahoma say they have discovered a possible mass grave site from the massacre, though they have not determined how many bodies may be buried there. So, it's for decades, the rampage was left out of textbooks in Oklahoma, and a few people spoke about what had happened. The massacre began on May 31st, 1921, when a white mob marched on the Greenwood, not Greenwich, Greenwood, marched on Greenwood, one of the richest black communities in the country. It's a very sad story. This is, over the course of 18 hours, white mobs destroyed 1,000 homes and businesses during the Tulsa race riot. They set fire to schools, churches, libraries, and movie theaters, leveling the entire city. He has the whole thread here on this. Anyway. So yeah, and interesting they call it a race riot, but whatever. It's an awful thing in our history. So there you go. All right. Let's get into the trends real quick, and then we can get out of here. Tuesday is highly represented in the top 5 with Tuesday thoughts, Tuesday motivation, and Tuesday morning. And those 3 are in the 1, 2, and 4. Let's just do Tuesday thoughts. We'll do a quick Tuesday thought here. Hopefully, it's not a Tuesday thought. Imagine if I brought this message into every major American city. Why are black men locked up for crime, but illegal aliens get freedom? That's from Scott Pressler, the guy who goes out and cleans up cities. Okay. Okay, and Donald Trump has a Tuesday thought. Very angry, despite my warnings. Just found out the United Kingdom is celebrating Christmas. Oh, this is the this is the parody account. Never mind. It is funny though. Very angry, despite my warnings. Just found out the United Kingdom is celebrating Christmas. Wrong. Christmas is an American holiday. Americans are the ones who invented Christmas and Santa and baby Jesus, not the UK. This is why we fought the British in World War II. Now, that's funny, even though it's a parody account. I find it humorous. Oh, and a 1 in a million blue lobster. Check that out. Released along with hundreds of females as part of a conservation effort. So look at that. It's a very rare blue lobster. That's pretty cool. Rise of Honkler will be trending, I bet. I don't know what that means. Anyway, okay, so we got our Tuesday thoughts. The blue lobster is pretty dang cool. All right, number 3 trending, impeachment eve. Oh, good God. Let's see what my top one is. MoveOn.org. Oh, good. Newspapers are coming around to the inevitable. Trump must be impeached. You know what's funny? So I can't remember who did it. Somebody, one of these, I don't know if it was David Frum or one of these anti-Trump people, tweeted this out showing all these newspapers that were saying you need to impeach the president. I wonder if a single one of those newspapers endorsed President Trump for president, or if they endorsed Hillary Clinton. It's funny because the whole list are basically left-wing editorial boards. So I don't care how many papers say impeach the president. But yeah, they're putting impeachment eve. Oh, like it's a celebration of impeachment eve. Kurt Schlichter says, this guy's saying Putin propagandists are openly speculating about Donald Trump fleeing to Russia for asylum because he'll be in bad shape after leaving the White House. Will a handful of Republican senators stand up to stop this impeachment eve? These people are just deranged. Oh my God. Here's how impeachment will go, in my opinion. House impeaches Trump with 0 Republicans supporting it, and at least 1 Democrat joins them. Trial hurts Democrats. Senator quits Trump with at least 1 Democrat voting with Republicans. Trump gets positive polling bump. Impeachment eve. So people are, I'm sure. Oh, and there's Rachel Maddow. I was excited for impeachment eve. Maddow announces the 600 noted buddies above the law protest planned for tomorrow night. Oh, I got to go to one of these. Ooh, what do I got going on tomorrow? Is there one in Minneapolis? I hope Oh, and there's find your protest at impeach.org. There's an impeach.org website. Are you kidding me? Nobody is above the law events. Impeach and remove events are on. The Nobody Above the Law network has activated. Events are called for Tuesday, December 17th at 5:30 p.m. local time. Check your event. Let's check out my area of the country. Clicking 3. Oh, come on. Move the map. There's got to be. Oh, yeah, there's a couple. There's one in Minneapolis and one in St. Paul. Look at that. Oh, they're just scheduled for everywhere. Our voices will be heard. Oh, you have to RSVP for these? Oh man, I might have to go and do some filming. I think I might do that. Good point, Cynical Lindsay. Just go to Point and Laugh. I might have to tomorrow. What do I got going on tomorrow night? I have practice until about 5:15. I'm gonna have to check it out. All right. We may be doing some filming. All right. Rachel Madcow's a weird dude. Okay. So anyway, that's impeachment Eve. It's just like Christmas Eve for the Democrats, isn't it? Or for Democrats. All right, moving on. We Are Republicans is trending. Now, okay, so all the Never Trumpers. Now, I laugh because this is an article written by George Conway. This is Kelly Conway's husband, who's a big-time anti-Trumper, right? So the food writes, as someone who is not always a fan of Trump, this piece is a hot, steaming pile of stupid. They so love the Constitution, they want to hand governance to Dems who want to take the document apart. And George Conway, really? We are Republicans? So he has an an editorial in the New York Times. And look at the people they suggest when you pull this up. Steve Schmidt, Rick Wilson, and George Conway. Yay! They're all Never Trumpers. Rick Wilson, of course, proud to join my brothers in this fight. Jake Tapper. Oh, Jake Tapper is just reporting on it. GOPers George Conway, Steve Schmidt, and JW and Rick Wilson launched the Lincoln Project, which in the next 11 months will work to defeat Donald Trump and Trumpism at the ballot box and elect those patriots who will hold the line. Okay, good luck to you. Let's see. Ben Shapiro says, by whom? Some of the participants have urged Republicans to vote Democrat, including when Trump wasn't on the ballot. So I have some suspicions. Yeah, a lot of these people tell people to vote for Democrats anyway. I just whatever. Here's someone, Carmine Sabia. We are Republicans and have no interest in rhinos who think winning means having a Democrat president. We do not believe in having a Democrat appoint liberal justices and judges to help our nation. We do not kiss ass, so the liberals at the New York Times pretend to like us. Okay, so you don't have to go through that hashtag yourself. It's probably pretty spicy. I'd imagine going back and forth. I survived Lamar. I don't know when I saw I Survived Lamar, but I immediately thought Lamar Odom and thought, damn, what stuff did he get into? I'm pretty sure this has to do with Lamar. What's his name? The dude from the guy who plays for the Ravens. So nobody but me finds the I Survived Lamar hashtag kind of weird. Okie doke. It is a weird hashtag. Oh no, this is not Lamar. That's K-pop. Get off my screen. Ah! Okay, I don't know what the I Survived Lamar is about because there's no one other than if your team beat the Ravens. All right, I'm done. I can't do it. Oh, maybe it has to do with fantasy football too because he puts up a lot of fantasy numbers. Anyway, Jung Hyum is trending. Number 7. Jung Hyum is K-pop. Nope. Daenerys is trending. Why is Daenerys trending? Aye, Chief. I know what you're trying to say with this tweet, but Daenerys was against oppressive tyrants and about freeing the slaved and low-bottom folk. She would probably overthrow most of our government officials at their lack of empathy and assistance for the lowly. Okay, so Meghan McCain. Oh, okay, because there's a little dust up on The View yesterday, and Whoopi Goldberg was telling Meghan McCain to shut the hell up, which I can't always disagree with that, but it was kind of rude, and she wouldn't let Meghan McCain talk. So Meghan McCain decides to say good morning to all the fellow conservative girls who won't be quiet. And she puts a picture of Daenerys there. And here's someone saying, girl, please stop talking. Please stop talking right now. Finally, Whoopi Goldberg. Oh, that was a Freudian slip. Whoopi Goldberg says, girl, please stop talking. Please stop talking right now. Finally, Whoopi Goldberg grew some guts and stood up to this noisemaker. Comparing yourself to a TV character whose arc resulted in her committing war crimes. Oh my God. These people are so, oh my God, these people have to just, you can't just have entertainment. You have to overthink it. That the character is committing war crimes and burning innocent women and children alive seems like an unusual choice for the daughter of a former POW, but hey, who am I to judge? Okay, I guess. Meghan McCain is just a hard person to listen to, no matter whether you agree with her or not, because, I don't know. Enough of that. That's why Daenerys is trending. Oh, Chuck Schumer is trending because, oh God. So Chuck Schumer says, on his proposal to call live witnesses during possible impeachment trials, senators who oppose this plan will have to explain why less evidence is better than more evidence. Good old smarmy Chuck Schumer. Let's just listen to him.
Senators who oppose this plan will have to explain why less evidence is better than more evidence. Again, let me say that to every senator in this room.
Here's what Chuck Schumer's trying to do. He wants to call witnesses in the Senate trial that were not involved in the House trial, which I don't know if that's okay or not. I'm not sure of the rules. They make up the rules as they go along, so I don't know. But so they want to call, for example, John Bolton, who did not testify with the House. They want to call, bring in evidence of other things. Also, the articles of impeachment. Apparently, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's not in the articles of impeachment that they want to bring evidence to. We'll get into that tomorrow. But so this is Chuck Schumer, Mr. Smarmy himself, trying to, to being his smarmy self, whatever.
Democrat and Republican, senators who oppose this plan will have to explain why less evidence is better than more evidence.
Great, Chuck. Then bringing in Hunter Biden and Joe Biden to testify will be great too, and Adam Schiff. Just to get an idea, what exactly did you all say to that whistleblower when they contacted your staff? What did you tell them to do? Did you help him at all? Did you write the whistleblower complaint? Yeah, great. Great. If extra evidence is bad evidence, then less evidence is better than more. Good point, Mr. Dax. I hear you. All right.
And they're going to have to explain that position to a public that is understandably skeptical when they see an administration.
Oh, wait a minute. The public is understandably skeptical of this whole impeachment process. And in fact, fewer people support it now that they've done it. The numbers are not in your favor right now. There's fewer people are beginning to support it. So, yeah, you're right. The public is skeptical.
Suppressing evidence and blocking senior officials from telling the truth about what they know. Let me repeat this Washington ABC poll. Just this morning.
Oh, let's see when was this from? This is from yesterday? Okay, let's see what he says here.
I read about it in the paper this morning.
Oh, you did?
71% of Americans believe the president should allow his top aides to testify in a potential Senate trial.
Well, you know what? If we did everything by polls, that would be a direct democracy. And we're not a direct democracy. But you know what? That's fine. If you want to do everything by polls, I'm pretty sure that a large percentage of Americans also have questions about Hunter Biden's activities in Ukraine and his coke habit. I bet if you ask them that question, they'd be concerned. Do you think it makes sense that some Ukrainian energy company hired Hunter Biden after he got kicked out of the military for being a cokehead? Does that make sense to you? Oh, wait, what was his name? His name was Biden? Oh, Chuck, come on.
72% of independents and 64% of Republicans.
Okay.
64% of Republicans think that President Trump should allow his top aides to testify in a potential Senate trial.
Okay.
7 out of 10 Americans. The American people have a wisdom that seems to be lacking with some of my colleagues.
Oh, shots fired. Shots fired, Chuck.
That a trial without witnesses is not a trial. It's a rush to judgment. It's a sham trial.
Oh, kind of like the sham House Judiciary Committee hearing. You know, the one where the Republicans weren't allowed to call any witnesses. Oh, more people should testify rather than less. There should be more evidence rather than less evidence. Oh, so are you calling the House Judiciary Committee hearings a sham, Chuck? That sounds like what you're calling it, Chuck. It sounds like what you're calling it.
People understand that a trial without relevant documents is not a fair trial. Again, a desire not for sunlight, but for darkness, to conceal facts that may well be very relevant.
Okay, Chuck, we'll let you go. That's why Chuck Schumer's trending. Caleb Hall says, Schumer is tone deaf. There's a grand tradition in America, speedy and fair trials. We want both. The leader seems obsessed with speedy and wants to throw the fair out the window, reminding that Dems have rushed to impeachment through the House to get it before 2020. Those were Schumer's words. Yeah, the Dems rushed right through the House, though, didn't they? Okay, there you go. Schumer's trending. Peter Thiel's trending. Peter Thiel's at center of Facebook's. Let's see. Facebook's senior leadership is increasingly divided over how to address criticism of the company's effect on U.S. politics. How about you just not worry about it? Okay, people are going to do what they do. I'm sorry, but the $4,000 in Facebook ads didn't influence the last election. I hate to break this to you. You still haven't given us a quantitative result of those ads, which probably is slim to none because they were stupid fucking ads by some Russian trolls who really don't understand don't understand English that well because the ads were stupid. And none of them influenced the election. So shut up. We're going to skip on. Lincoln Project, that's the project with the Republicans against Trump. Gorsuch is trending. Neil Gorsuch was on Fox and Friends this morning, and they were asking him questions about his book, and the people on the left are freaking out about it. Brian Stelter, Justice Neil Gorsuch is on Fox and Friends right now. This is 3 hours ago. The question, how is it appropriate for a Supreme Court justice to try and goose sales of his 3-month-old book by chatting on one of the most partisan shows on TV? I don't know. Have you seen the interviews of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg on some of these networks? I mean, who cares? The left is actually freaking out over Gorsuch saying Merry Christmas. Oh, he's mad that they're mad that he said Merry Christmas. What? Supreme Court Justice just appeared on Fox News this morning, making a point to parrot the Merry Christmas talking point of the GOP. If he's willing to go on Fox and throw a shout out to Republican narratives, what else is he willing to do? Amy Vanderpool, I want to know what else you're willing to do. I'm just curious. I'm going to leave it at that. All right, moving on. That's why he's trending, because he was on Fox and Friends. Carol Sands. Oh, that's weird. Seeking immediate information in regards to a kidnapping last night in the vicinity of Eagle Avenue and 156th Street, 16-year-old Carol Sanchez was walking with her mother when 4 men in a beige sedan forced her into their vehicle and fled the scene. Oh my gosh, that's just awful. This is in New York City. Okay, there's our Amber Alert for Carol Sanchez. If you happen to see that on the internet, retweet it. You never know if you can help somebody. All right. That's unfortunate. Lincoln Project, again, that's the Republicans against Trump. Oh, Yovanovitch. We're going to talk a little bit about this tomorrow because New York Times Giuliani provide. Now, it's interesting, the different headlines I'm getting on this. If you look at left-wing sources, it's Giuliani provides details of what Trump knew about Ambassador Yovanovitch. And if you look at the right-wing ones, Giuliani has proof of the corruption of Yovanovitch. So this is one of those, let it play out for a few days. Oh, there was another thing on Twitter. Well, again, I don't have time. I'll get to that tomorrow too. So that's trending number 14. Number 15, K-pop. Nope. Number 16, Danny. Oh, that's for Daenerys. That's the same thing with, what's her face? House Rules Committee is trending. Now, that's interesting. Oh, I see. Representative Jim Montgomery at a meeting of the House Rules Committee on impeachment vote. It seems the only Republican members willing to admit the president did something wrong have either already retired or announced plans they intend to retire. Okay, whatever. The House Rules Committee is having their impeachment rules or something. Who knows? David Tepper in sports and Twitter down. Yeah, that was Twitter down was trending. How can I complain that Twitter is down if Twitter is down? Because Twitter was down. When Twitter goes down and we can't check Twitter to see if anyone else is down, Twitter down. Okay, so we all know Twitter had its issues this morning. All right, I got to go, people. That's it for the day for the Morning Night Live. I hope you had fun today. I know I spent the whole time on good old James Comey, but I hope you got something out of it. If you haven't seen the whole show, we just went through the entire interview with Chris Wallace from Fox News Sunday. Hopefully I don't get a strike for that. But anyway, so just if you haven't seen the whole thing, watch the whole thing. And then also watch it where you can see the live chat on the side, because there was a lot of good chat going on during that too. John Bolton, the singer. No, that's not. Who's that? What's that guy's name? Mike. That's Michael Bolton. How can I be chose to live without you? This love is for so long. Even though that wasn't his song. Anyway, I gotta go. Thank you for being here. You know the Morning Night Live. We're here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 3 p.m. GMT. I got it right this time. And if you were be so kind, on your way out, if you haven't done so already, hit that like button. Smash that like button. I don't know why they say that. That's twice I've said that. Smash that like button. And, please share the stream out. This was one of my favorites. I might cut down just the interview and make that as a separate video. But anyway, if you haven't seen the whole thing, we went through the entire video from that James Comey interview. And then also, if you can be so kind, if you like what we do, consider putting something in the tip jar through the Streamlabs link in the description down below, or through Venmo at PDog Night. So thank you so much for being here. But I really, really got to leave. My name is PDog Night. And I'm out of here. Thank you so much and have a great day. Hey, this is PDog Night, and thank you for watching today on the PDog Night channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comments section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDog Night, and I'm out of here.
All right. Yes. Like on the road, you have it, so you could just go out and drive.